Now, from the Quad Cities' largest weather team, this is Beyond the First Alert. Beyond the First Alert is sponsored by A-Plus Roofing and Siding Company.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on KWQC Plus. I'm meteorologist Kyle Keel alongside meteorologist Deanna Rodriguez, and this is Beyond the First Alert. We're very excited to finally launch this new show here on our streaming platforms.
During this show, we are going to explore your extended forecasts, look at the weather around the nation, and from time to time, we'll take you beyond the atmosphere and into space.
Yes, everyone's interested in space, right? We hope you'll join us every day from 1:30 to approximately 1:50. Really no time frame because we're on streaming.
Yeah,
right?
So we can talk about it all. We love weather. And
we can talk weather for
yes,
maybe too much. People probably get tired of it sometimes, but we hope you don't because we have a lot of interesting things to share. You can always access this program for free through all of our streaming apps for Android, Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. All you have to do is search KWQC. Well, Deanna, today is April 22nd.
Guess what that is?
It's Earth Day. Yes, the day was created back in 1970.
Oh, I didn't know that. This year's theme is Our Power, Our Planet.
That's right.
The theme emphasizes how small daily actions from average people like us can help protect our environment.
Yeah, you can get involved through an interactive map of events on earthday.org. The website also lists ideas for making a difference close to home, and we'll have coverage of some of the local events for Earth Day coming up on our news at 4, 5, and 6. I know that there were a lot of different events kind of cleaning up the earth.
Oh my goodness,
you know, because
yes.
sometimes people, they choose to litter, which is obviously not good for Mother Earth. We want to treat her very nicely, so we want to be around for a long time.
And also we've had a lot of debris from, last week when we had several storms come through the TV6 viewing area, and it wasn't just here, it was also parts of the Midwest. We were very, very active.
Yeah, I mean, it's safe to say we could call last Friday a tornado outbreak, and luckily since then it's been quieter. So it's really given meteorologists at the National Weather Service some time to go through the data, some time to survey this damage. I mean, technology is incredible these days because we've got better forms of technology as far as tools and radar. We've got enhanced satellite data as well as a lot of storm chaser, a lot of eyes on the storms.
Yes, and we were very fortunate enough that while we were handling a lot of stuff here in the studio, we were also able to kind of see what storm chasers were seeing through their cameras. And I think that's also important because what we're seeing on radar and also being able to look at a picture or outdoors, I mean, it's just really nice to see, okay, this is what's going on, this is where it's happening, so that people know.
Yeah, and the thing with radar is that sometimes, the radar scans are 3 to 5 minutes, so sometimes in between radar scans we can get tornadoes to drop. And that's exactly what happened with one of the tornadoes that we're going to talk about, because we have had additional tornadoes confirmed in the TV6 viewing area. So that takes the total in our area of eastern Iowa and western Illinois up to 8 tornadoes, but we'll talk about the statewide tornadoes here in just a moment. But the ones that were confirmed yesterday, they're going to be very hard to see on the map at this juncture, but you can see as we zoom into northern Henry County, this is rural Henry County. We don't even have a town to share with you, but this was a farmstead that was damaged. You can see that tornado on the ground for about a quarter of a mile. Did some damage to a farmstead there, a couple of outbuildings, as well as some tree damage. That was an EF1 tornado with 100-mile-per-hour winds. We'll take a bounce up to Jackson County, Iowa. This is near the Maquoketa Cave State Park area. This is the black line, and if you look at the legend at the top of the screen there, that's an EFU. So EFU, the U stands for unknown. It's not unknown that there was a tornado. We know there was a tornado. It was unknown how strong that tornado was, because right now we do not get to measure these tornadoes' wind speeds inside the storm. It's based on the damage, right? So what we do know is because we had chasers out in the area, there were a couple of chasers that spotted this tornado near Maquoketa Caves. It was on the ground for about 4 minutes. They relayed that information, shared the video with the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service did not find any damage in that area. So because we rely on damage indicators for tornadoes, we can't actually rate that tornado, but it does count as a tornado nonetheless. So that's part of that increased technology that we see, and based on satellite, some of these tornadoes kind of left some debris scars on the ground where you can tell where that path of the tornado took. So I've kind of zoomed this out to include eastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. It's going to be very hard to count all of these tracks here, but they're, from my count, Deanna, I was telling you earlier.
You're a little paranoid over
I was getting a little cross-eyed looking at all these tracks, but from my count, there have been 37 confirmed tornadoes from the National Weather Service in the Quad Cities, in Lincoln, Illinois, as well as in Chicago. So this is from April 17th alone, 37 tornadoes in the state.
Yeah, and this is something that you don't really see here for the state of Illinois.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think tornadoes, we all assume Texas,
Yes.
Oklahoma, but no, I think they probably are on like the lower end of the spectrum
They
as far as
certainly are, yeah.
the amount of tornadoes that they've had this year. So it's really shocking to see, you know, here in Illinois, we are leading the country with tornadoes,
Yeah,
and it's just
93.
93. That's
93
crazy.
at last count. And just to put that into perspective, by the way, Iowa's had 19 tornadoes. So that EFU tornado in Jackson County, that was the 19th tornado in the state. This is kind of on par for Iowa. Iowa averages about 55 per year. Illinois averages 62 tornadoes per year, and we've already had 93, and we're not even 4 months fully into the year. So,
Yeah, that's a little concerning,
Yes,
I will say, because
definitely.
I mean, we still have one more week until we end the month of April, and we still have May, June, July, August, September, all
Yeah,
year
all year
around. I
long.
mean, we can't really say we don't get tornadoes in
Yeah.
December. I think it was a couple years ago when we had a tornado warning
Yeah.
here in the Quad Cities. I can't remember what year it was. I want to say 2019, 2020, but I think maybe.
Yeah, we had 21.
What is
We
it?
had that derecho
21?
move through where we had tornado warnings in December. So
Yeah.
they can happen any time of year,
Weird.
any time of day, and that's really what we want to reiterate. So we'll, of course, keep an eye on severe weather. We do have a severe weather threat coming up here tomorrow, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But right now we need to address the flooding going on.
Yeah, so with the severe weather that we've had all of last week and then the severe weather that we're expected to get here overnight, the flood levels
Yeah.
are rising.
They
You would think
certainly
that
are.
it would be because of the snow.
Yeah,
You
this time of year it's
you
the
would
snow,
think, but now it's the fact that
spring
we're dealing.
rains.
We've had just one system after another. So yes, those river levels are starting to rise. So taking a look outside, I mean, we are definitely noticing that here along the Mississippi River, it is pretty high. I mean, even if you go on a walk, or if you go on a walk today, you'll definitely see, wow, it is definitely pretty high out there. Here's a look at what we're tracking. We are under a flood warning. Here is along the Rock River, and right now currently along Moline, it's close to 15 inches, and it's currently under a major flood stage, and it's expected to, well, crest here at major flood as well, and around Jocelyn, moderate, and it's going to continue that way. So it's not just here on the Rock River that we're also tracking that, even along the Mississippi River. Kyle.
Yeah, so 4.1 feet is major flood stage there along Moline. Jocelyn, 16 feet is the forecast crest. These will be happening within the next couple of days, but as we saw on the Mississippi River, it's definitely swollen as well.
Yeah, so we are parts around LeClaire and the Comanche area. Let's see, they're at action stage right now, and they're expected to crest here around the action stage as well. But in Rock Island, it's at minor flooding stage, and of course, we're still expected to get a little bit more rain. I wouldn't be surprised if we're dealing with that moderate flooding.
Yeah, and then from Muscatine to New Boston, Keithsburg, downstream toward Gladstone and Burlington, still expecting those crests in minor to moderate flood stage. So at these junctures, at this level, we don't really see too much in the way of major impacts. So that is certainly the good news here. But as you mentioned, Deanna, we do have some more rain in the forecast. And right now, though, we're not tracking any rain because it's absolutely beautiful out there.
Yeah, that first alert camera network showing, I mean, plenty of blue skies. A few passing clouds, especially there in Dubuque and Burlington, but severe weather today, not going to be an issue. Those temperatures, I mean, it's, let's see, 1:38 p.m. and it feels like summer outside. So we'll continue to track that summer warmth here across the area today and even as we get into tomorrow. So don't think that tomorrow is going to be a total washout where you need to cancel any plans. There is that chance that we can see some strong storms during the overnight hours of tomorrow night into early Friday morning. But as we get into this weekend, we're dealing with pleasant, comfortable weather and highs in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, so to cover the storm chances tomorrow night, we have issued a first alert day, 10 p.m. tomorrow evening through Friday at 4 a.m. So these will happen while many people are asleep. We are expecting widespread storms to move in from the west, but the gradual trend is that they will be weakening over time.
Yes.
Even as they weaken, they can still push out some gusty winds. So we're talking 50, maybe 60 mile per hour winds. There's a level 2 out of 5 risk for a good chunk of the TV6 viewing area, and we'll show you that right now. Actually, it looks like this got bounced back a little bit, but I want to take you back here. And yeah, you'll be able to see that there's that level 2 out of 5 risk here, including Muscatine, down toward Wapello, Burlington, and off to the west. That's where we have the higher risk for those damaging wind gusts, but we don't expect a widespread outbreak like we had last Friday. So that is the one thing that we really do want to reiterate.
I will say the tornado threat will be on the lower part of the spectrum.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we don't want everybody to freak out. Still have ways to receive any weather updates during the overnight hours, but as of now, we're not expecting it to be a tornado outbreak. Kind of like you mentioned, some gusty winds, some heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning. I feel like a lot of these storms around this time of year do bring a lot of that lightning, of course.
But in the meantime, let's enjoy these temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. 81 right now in Maquoketa. Most of us will top off in the upper 70s to the lower 80s here today. Again, lots of sunshine. A little area of thunderstorms kind of blossomed up in northern Iowa just south of that warm front. Those are weakening, so we're not expecting too much out of that, but it's that low pressure and cold front that will be the focal point for those showers and storms here tomorrow. But in the meantime, look at exact track. Nothing really to track except maybe a couple of passing clouds. Could be a couple of showers near that front off to our east. Looks like some lake effect or lake enhanced rain there with that front coming off the lake. But those should dissipate after the evening hours, and then we'll be left with some sunshine as we wake up tomorrow morning. But do expect an increase in clouds in the afternoon. And then one thing we're watching, Deanna, is the potential for maybe a few storms later in the afternoon off to our southwest.
Yeah, it does seem like some of the models have been not doing too much of a great job of kind of agreeing on, you know, the potential of us seeing some storms. I know earlier they were over the Quad Cities area, and then this morning just north of the Quad Cities area. But yeah, down to the south, there could be a chance where we could be seeing some storms. Of course, not really anticipating anything severe where we could have an outbreak, but there's still that chance. So even though we're not expecting anything severe tomorrow evening, still be weather aware in case you are out and about during the evening hours.
Yeah, it's after 10 o'clock where we start to see these storms move in from the west. Again, over time, by midnight, they start to approach our western counties, so we may be able to kind of push back that first alert day a couple of hours. We'll tune in with Teresa here this evening and then Kevin tomorrow morning as we make adjustments to the timing. But again, the overall trend is that these storms will start to break apart as they move into the area. So again, just an isolated severe threat here as we head into tomorrow night and early Friday. During the day Friday, we'll see a few showers lingering here behind that front early in the morning hours. And then by the afternoon, we should begin to dry out and we'll be left with some cooler weather. So that'll lead us into a really nice weekend, which we will certainly get a look at that coming up in the 7-day forecast. Well, next on Beyond the First Alert, we take you out west for a look at a tornado in a place doesn't really see them a lot. We got that tornado on camera. Plus, we talk snow and wildfires impacting the U.S. as we take you for a trip across the nation. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Beyond the First Alert on KWQC Plus. I'm meteorologist Kyle Keel. Well, here's something you don't hear every day. People living outside of Fresno, California are cleaning up after a tornado caused damage yesterday afternoon. Check out this video near Clovis, California. This is just outside of Fresno. Now, obviously, this is not your typical supercell that you'd see in the Plains states or even here in the Midwest, but meteorologists at the National Weather Service did see quite a bit of damage with trees that are consistent with EF1 damage. So that's peak winds between 86 and 110 miles per hour. The local National Weather Service there will be releasing damage survey results today, and they will be determining if damage elsewhere were that of a tornado as well. By the way, if you're curious, California averages 9 tornadoes each year, and so far there have been 2. Meanwhile, that same system has created wintry scenes like this in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Travelers on Interstate 80 had to dodge the reduced visibility and snowy conditions, but as you're about to see, some people made some time to have a little bit of fun as well, as they were doing some snowball fights. There you go, they're doing some snowball fights, the kids having a little bit of fun. Looks like the adults are having fun too. But on a more serious note, the system impacting California has created localized flooding and travel impacts across the region. Now, while the Pacific coast is dealing with flooding and the snow, the Atlantic coast is actually battling dry weather and wildfires. Portions of Georgia and Florida have been dealing with fire weather over the past couple of days, and some of those fires have been impacting neighborhoods. Deja Mayfield reports.
Billowing plumes of smoke cover the skies in Green Cove Springs as multiple agencies battle the Cruise Road fire. The Florida Forest Service confirming the fire has stretched to 2,000 acres, with only 5% of the fire contained. Visibility deteriorated through the early part of the evening, forcing this road closure on Highway 17. And 6 Amtrak routes are now canceled or rerouted. County leaders say sparks from an Amtrak train appear to have started the fire early Sunday evening.
It definitely was not on our bingo card to be involved in a huge fire.
Meg Pace and her husband Tom were stuck in their car for 22 hours.
Fortunately, with the room let, we get lunch and dinner, so we have eaten a lot. And the food's actually pretty good. I have a good book. We've been reading a book.
My kids have pillows, they have blankets, they have their necessities.
Back in Green Cove Springs, Savannah Law and her family had to leave their home when the fire got too close. They're camping out of their SUVs and an RV until it's safe to go back home.
We're praying hard, and we've got a really great support system between friends and family.
And while this family braces for what's to come, Meg and her husband are finally on their way back to Savannah after catching a flight out of Orlando.
And fortunately, the Climate Prediction Center has the southeastern U.S. outlined as an area with potential above normal precipitation here over the next couple of weeks, so that should alleviate the wildfire concerns. Meantime, it is quiet in the southeastern U.S. Obviously, not a lot of rain in the region. I do know portions of Florida did see some rain yesterday, but certainly not enough to alleviate those concerns. But let's take a look at the weather region by region. Again, pretty quiet, relatively speaking, across the U.S. You can see we have some showers there across the eastern U.S. and portions of Kentucky, West Virginia, as well as Virginia. A few scattered showers there in northern Florida, southern Georgia. Again, not enough to really alleviate fire concerns, but I do know the humidity is up a little bit, so that should help just a bit. Also some coastal showers there along Louisiana and Texas with your prop-up variety of showers and storms there in Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, and of course a little unsettled there in the Pacific Northwest. So let's take you there region by region. Southeast, relatively dry. Temperatures in the 80s for many locations. The exception, surprisingly, Miami, Florida, 77 degrees, but 77, 80, not much of a difference if you ask me. Overall, very nice there in the southeast. There's those showers we were tracking here in the northeastern U.S. Maybe some of the higher elevations in Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine could see a little bit of snow. Temperatures will range from the 40s in Maine to the 50s in New York to 60s in Philadelphia and 70s there in Washington, D.C. Midwest, overall pretty quiet. Couple showers here to our east, couple showers off to our west. We're kind of sandwiched in between the nice weather here. Chicago, I was talking about that lake front. That's going to keep you in the upper 50s today, or keep those in Chicago in the upper 50s today. 86 though in Minneapolis. Very warm there, very warm here as well. Off to the southwest, as you would expect, 70s and 80s. Couple of showers and storms there in Houston, as we saw ongoing there on the satellite and radar. Could see some mountain snow with that low pressure out in portions of Montana as well as Idaho and Wyoming. That same system will be the one that we are tracking for our potential storms here as we head tomorrow night and into Friday. So that will be something that we continue to track here as we go over the next 24 to 36 hours. Well, coming up on Beyond the First Alert, we will tell you when you can look up into the sky to catch a meteor shower and perhaps your chance at seeing the northern lights. We'll check that and the 7-day forecast when we come back. Welcome back to Beyond the First Alert right here on KWQC Plus. Well, if you want to keep your eye to the sky tonight, you might see a few more meteors. As I mentioned yesterday, we've got the peak of the Lyrid meteor shower last night and even tonight. I think last night was the official peak of it, but look off to the northeast sky and you might see 10 to perhaps 20 meteors per hour. These will be a little more faint in nature than maybe the Perseids that we're used to seeing around here, but the best time to look would be between 1 and 4 a.m. and definitely want to be away from the city lights, and that's where you want to be in order to get a look at the northern lights. They'll be most vibrant tonight, mainly in portions of Canada, Minnesota, the UP of Michigan, you know, northern states, as you would expect. But that blue line there, that's the view line, and notice that really encompasses the entire TV6 viewing area. So areas north of that line have the chance to see the northern lights, but really not with the naked eye. So you might have to do that thing where you take your cell phone in night mode and you look up and you'll be able to see kind of the bright colors. But it's not the best chance we've ever seen to see the northern lights, but hey, there's a chance nonetheless. So the question is, will we see a clear sky for that? For the most part, yes. I think as we head toward 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, we could see a few clouds. Temperatures once again warm tonight. We'll be in the upper 50s to near 60. 70s here for tomorrow with sunshine during the day. A few clouds in the afternoon. Maybe a couple isolated showers or storms late in the day, but first alert day here for tomorrow evening through Friday morning for the potential of maybe some gusty thunderstorms. Widespread severe weather not expected, just kind of an isolated threat for a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. A few lingering showers are expected during the day Friday. We'll have highs back in the upper 60s. Close to 70 here as we head into the weekend with an active start to next week. Looks like a good shot at some random storms here on Monday. Who's looking over some data a little bit earlier. We'll have to watch for maybe some stronger storms, but I think most of the severe weather should stay south of the TV6 viewing area as it looks now, but it's still several days out, so we'll have plenty of time to fine-tune that forecast. Well, that'll do it here for Beyond the First Alert. Thank you so much for watching. We'll have another update with Teresa Bryant coming up on KWQC TV6 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10, which you can always stream on the KWQC News app as well as KWQC.com. We'll see you here tomorrow.
Beyond the First Alert is sponsored by A+ Roofing and Siding Company.